from XL Energy Center in St. Paul. Welcome.
Stanley Cup first round.
Wild in red, Oilers in white. The Brodziak line starting for Minnesota, and that is Kyle Brodziak flipping it out to center. Payarvi for Edmonton back. Northwest Division battle, the Wild and Oilers. Loose puck knocked down by Brodziak, now to Clutterbuck on the wing. He'll fire one, he misses the goal, hits the glass behind the goaltender. Knocked down by Schultz in the high slot, cleared back out off the boards through the neutral zone. And Nick Schultz heading back to scoop it up.
Well, as we said in our game plan, the first 10 minutes, very crucial here for both teams, but Minnesota Wild clearly want to get something going, put it into the Oilers' heads that, no, you're not going to break the string here tonight. The string, of course, we're talking about the 16-0, the Wild have started with this battle is building. It's the string, of course, we're talking about the 16-0, the Wild have rattled off in this night. The string, of course, we're talking about the 16-0, the Wild have rattled off in this building against the Oilers since 2007. Let's look at the goaltenders.
Brought to you by Northland Ford.
And Nikolai Habibulin gets the start. And he is a very active goaltender. Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning years ago and trying to get back to that form. And speaking of good form, Nicholas Backstrom has it this season. It's just hard not to play him right. They like to start. And he is a very active goaltender. Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning years ago and trying to get back to that form. And speaking of good form, Nicholas Backstrom has it this season. It's just trying to get goaltenders. Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning years ago and trying to get back to that form. And speaking of good form, Nicholas Backstrom has it this season. It's just hard not to play at the goaltenders.
Brought to you by, of course, Northland Ford.
And Nikolai Habibulin gets the start at the Tampa. And he is a very active goaltender. Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning years ago and trying to get back to that form. And speaking of good form, Nicholas Backstrom has it this season. It's just hard not to play him right now. He's playing so well, and even though the Wild want to get Josh Harding some minutes here, when you got a goaltender playing that well, you just ride him.
And the puck hits the netting in the corner of the Minnesota's. The puck hits the netting.
Goaltender playing that well, you just ride him.
That puck hits for the Minnesota zone, and that'll slow things down. There's Mr. Harding.
You know, Josh Harding, he was deemed 99% healthy by Mike Yeo against the Ottawa Senators, even though Nicholas Backstrom got the start. I think he's probably pretty close to 100% now. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He's just waiting for that opportunity. But, you know, Josh Harding did not play, even though Nicholas Backstrom got the start. I think he's probably pretty close to 100% now. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He's just waiting for that opportunity. But, you know, Josh Harding did not play well for the Wild. Had a very good training camp. Played very well in the preseason games that he played.
Wild send it into the Oiler end of the rink. Cullen's line is out there now with Bouchard and Guillaume Latendresse. That's Bouchard. Back now for Stoner, who's playing with Zanin right now as a defensive pair. We'll see how long that lasts. See if they shake things up a little bit. Scandella hops the boards. He's out there now with the puck with Zanin. Ahead now to Bouchard at center. Redirects the puck into the Edmonton zone. In on goal. Habibulin leaves it behind the goal. Knocked away from Petrie. Up along the boards. Now Ryan Smith coming back. Coming back is what he did to Edmonton. His second round with the Oilers. To center. In across the line. Hemsky stops. Looks. Fires. And it goes just wide. May have gone off Scandella. Here's the captain of the Wild, Koivu. Had it poke checked away. Then blocks it with a stick. Now reaching, trying to gain control. Cannot. Held it at the point. Hemsky sidestepping a check from Heatley. Centers right to Latendresse, who banks the puck out to center. Guillaume Latendresse heads to the Minnesota bench to change on the go. Hemsky down low. All the way around. Hemsky dumps it to the corner. Waiting there is Hall. Taylor Hall centers in front. Shot. Great save by Backstrom. A big save early on. And then it's cleared from the front of the goal by Scandella.
Well, a lot of skilled players out there. You got 2 first overall picks over the last 2 years, and then Ales Hemsky. That's a pretty good trio, and they've combined for some very nice passing and a beautiful shot. But as we talked about, Nicholas Backstrom has been so much on his game that he read that very well. That was a one-timer from below the hash marks.
Wild come into the game 1-1-1 on the early season. Coming in off that 4-3 shootout loss Tuesday at Ottawa. This is Howe in the offensive zone. Ballmer going back. Ballmer muscled off by Peckham. And then the play finished by a hit along the wall by Brad Staubitz. Centered right in front, and Jones in front. Tried to direct that one past Backstrom. He couldn't do it. Ballmer got the puck out, took a hit from Schmid there. Loose puck to Horkoff out in the neutral zone. Oilers on the offensive charge now on the right wing side. Stopping in the corner was Payarvi. Sends it down low, stolen away. This is only the second game of the season for the Oilers. They played Sunday. They got a 2-1 win at home in a shootout against Pittsburgh.
Some teams have already played 4 games. This is the Wild's 4th game themselves. The Wild can take advantage of that fact.
Hordichuk banks it off the board. One-timer from the point. Changed direction a couple of times in front of Backstrom, and the Wild will break it out. Pushing it ahead is Cal Clutterbuck. He'll chase it down. Cam Barker, the former Wild defenseman, ties up there with Clutterbuck. Comes free along the boards. Gillies knocks it back in low. Barker sends it around to the near side.
Well, the Wild finally getting their forecheck going here. Until now, it was pretty much the Oilers driving into the offensive zone, but the Wild finally were able to get the puck in deep, like Wes Wallace talked about in our pregame show, and got some good puck placement there, and that's why they were able to cycle.
Brodziak to center, tipped ahead by Gillies. Loved a knockdown, controlled by Eric Belanger, of course, another former member of the Minnesota Wild. Tom Gilbert didn't play for the Wild, but he's from Minnesota. Bouncing puck into the Edmonton zone. Loose puck, Latendresse has that poke checked away. Eberle now with a quick drop pass, and the puck is bumped ahead into the Minnesota zone. Good pace early in this game from St. Paul. Johnson, or Smith that is, back along the boards, lost control, picked up by Latendresse. Gilbert had it, he lost it. Latendresse can't get it. Bouchard carries in, and they're going to say Cullen did not get out of the zone quickly enough.
You know, Edmonton wants to get off the schneid in terms of winning hockey games in this building, and they do so with a good one-timer there by Gilbert, and then Jones with a tip over the net, and then another deflection in front. So the Oilers are getting some early chances, but it's not easy to score on that man. He has been good. Great rebound control so far this season by Nicholas Backstrom. His save percentage around 92. And he made 41 saves in the shootout loss in Ottawa, so he's getting to see a lot.
Backhander goes wide in front of the Minnesota goal. That was Taylor Hall showing his speed as he got behind the Minnesota defense. And you'll see a lot of speed out there with this line. Dembski down low. Hall centers. Goes right through the crease. Koivu can't clear it out. Heatley trying to gain control off of Nugent Hopkins. And now cleared all the way down. But an icing call coming up as Theo Peckham gets back to touch up for the Edmonton Oilers.
Let's light the lamp, see who's going to score. And I had first overall pick. Danny Heatley was an easy choice for me. The top line basically goes 1, 2, 3. Latendresse a good choice for the way he's been playing. Nicholas Backstrom, Dan, that's a great pick for being last in the rotation, because Backstrom's numbers against the Oilers are phenomenal. And Bouchard back in the lineup after a 2-game suspension, and the fans chose him, and again, another good choice.
There were a lot of good choices made tonight.
Every game there seems to be. Obviously, you got a good top 6 now with the Wild and a good goaltender, so I think everybody pretty much has an opportunity to get some points every single game.
Stoner heading back in the Minnesota zone. Payarvi coming up behind him, but he just pushes it off the boards and out to neutral ice. Clayton Stoner again. Around for the wall, and Staubitz taps it all the way down. Ballmer coming down. It slows down. Doesn't make it for icing. Good hustle by the rookie, Brett Ballmer. Ballmer around behind. Ballmer puts it in front. Off the paddle. Still loose. Now slides towards the corner.
Even though the goaltender shut down that short side, that's a great idea by Ballmer. You get good rebounds that way. Create some havoc in front.
Staubitz battling in the corner. Couldn't get the puck through to the goal. Out to the point for Zanin. Towards the goal. Tipped out in the high slot by Ballmer. Now Staubitz in the corner. And they're going to say Ballmer played that with a high stick. That'll bring a whistle and a stoppage of play. No score yet.
And the Wild fans, the best hockey video game is in stores right now. It's EA Sports NHL 12. You can lace up the skates and score goals just like the pros. But which brings us to our EA NHL 12 spotlight of the Edmonton Oilers. Just over 3 months ago, right here in St. Paul, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was the #1 overall pick of the Oilers in the 2011 NHL entry draft. He joins the 2010 #1 overall pick, Taylor Hall, to form quite a dynamic duo of teenagers. Nugent-Hopkins got a goal in his very first game last weekend, while Hall notched 22 goals last year as a rookie. Guys, we've seen it already tonight. They've been out there for 2 shifts and a couple of golden opportunities. They may be teenagers, but they play like wily veterans.
Well, they have a lot of speed, and you can lock that down a little bit by good positioning defensively. But right now, the kids are going for a little bit of pond hockey out there, and it's working. I mean, they have such good vision for the ice, and they're not intimidated. They know how good they are, and they're taking advantage of it right now with some good plays.
Here's Nugent-Hopkins behind the Minnesota goal. Henske's out front, now to the corner. Taylor Hall is waiting. Taylor Hall sent it back to the point, but Gilbert had sucked over into the middle of the rink, and he was not there. The puck goes all the way back into the Edmonton zone. Big Andy Sutton pushed off the play. Comes through to Hensky, out to center ice. Nugent-Hopkins to the Minnesota line. Spurgeon turns him back. Jared Spurgeon, an Edmonton native, playing against his hometown team. Koivu with a check in the corner.
And that was a big hit on Hall, and we talked about the kids running around a little bit, making passes. If you flatten them against the boards a few times, they're going to think twice about dipsy-doodling around you, and that's a smart play by the captain for the Wild.
Boy, do they buzz around with that puck when they get in the offensive zone, though.
You make them pick up their head a few more times, and they're not going to be buzzing so much. And that's how you slow down young, talented kids.
Ryan Smith sends it rink wide. Ryan Smith, of course, signing to come back to Edmonton in the offseason. Bumped in deep. Backstrom stops it, gives it to Nick Schultz. Schultz rings it around. Took an odd hop off the glass right out to center ice. Petrie has it. Rotates it across. Back for Petrie from Barker, and across the line is Belanger. Soft shot, rebound, bounces just wide of the goal. Good play by Belanger just to get it to the goal, and the rebound ends up just missing the Minnesota cage. Across the line, Gillies has his shot go off. Petrie off the boards behind. Clutterbuck comes in with a big hit on Smith. Dump back behind to the near corner now in the Edmonton zone. In comes Gillies trying to finish a check. At center, Stoner. Look to dump it in. Now rotates it right. Zanin is there. Zanin sends it around. Javi Bulin leaves it back behind there. 4 shots to 2 favoring the Oilers so far in this game. Zanin quickly towards the goal. A bouncing puck is flipped just wide of the cage. Lifetime dress and Bouchard in the corner. Bouchard dumped it back into the corner. Nobody was there. Payarvi was there, and he carries the center and dumps it in for the Oilers. He's run into the wall after dumping it in by Lifetime dress. Guillaume Lifetime dress had a good, strong, physical game. A couple of them on the road. Tom Gilbert, the Bloomington native, back, and he'll touch this one up for an icing call.
Well, Ryan Smith, his name is synonymous with the Edmonton Oilers. Well, it was for a while, and he just missed an opportunity here. He is back with the Oilers. Actually, the last time the Oilers won a game in this building, Ryan Smith was with the Oilers. But in between then, he's played for the Islanders, a couple of years for Colorado, and another couple with the Los Angeles Kings. A very heartfelt return, though. The fans definitely recognizing what he did for the Oilers for so many years, and now I think maybe wants to finish his career there, and that seems very fitting.
Well, they needed some veterans to balance off all the kids running around out there.
Hey, someone has to babysit.
Puck deflected up and out of play into the stands here in St. Paul. Scoreless so far here in St. Paul. Let's get to that Toyota key stats.
Well, younger generation would call the numbers on your right there. They would just say they're sick. And I agree with them. I mean, the Wild have dominated the Oilers here in this building, although they've won 7 straight overall against the Oilers in the regular season. The 16 in a row here in this building over the last few years is quite amazing. Backstrom with some phenomenal numbers, and the Wild haven't just squeaked out a few of those wins and shootouts. They've actually dominated most of the games. Not so in this one right here. The Oilers coming out with a pretty good start in the first half of the first period.
Setaguchi all the way around. Setaguchi with a shot, and may have hit Javi Bulin or the side of the goal. Heatley battling behind. Heatley towards Koivu. Hall tips it away. Hall has it poked away by Koivu. Now Heatley on the puck. Wrapped up along the boards by Sutton. Big Andy Sutton, 6'6", wraps around Heatley. Just held in at the point by Spurgeon. Towards the goal. Chipped away. And now controlled by Koivu. You've got the young line out there, Hemsky and the two teenagers out there against the Koivu line. And Mike, it appeared to be a bit of a mismatch.
Well, you know what? The Wild should be able to take advantage of the youngsters, but yeah, the mismatch might have been the other way early. Those young kids flying around. I think the Wild got caught watching a little bit too much at all that speed, and they need to start stepping in front of people, filling the lanes, and then starting to transition the puck up the ice. But I think once that Heatley line and with Koivu and Setoguchi gets rolling and gets playing their game plan, there's not going to be too much problem with trying to counter some of that talent. We were curious as to what kind of defensive pairing we would see up against that top line. So far, it's been Sutton and Gilbert matching up against that line, so we'll keep an eye on that. But I think you're going to see that fairly consistently this evening.
Tipped off the stick of 21-year-old Jordan Eberle. He'll fire a shot on goal, and it goes into Backstrom, and there's no rebound off Nick Backstrom. Well, this week it's a doubleheader on Fox NFL. Sunday beginning with the St. Louis Rams heading into Green Bay to take on the unbeaten Packers. Then in America's Game of the Week, Tony Romo and the Cowboys head to New England to take on Tom Brady and the Patriots. Coverage begins this week with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show at 11 a.m. Check your local listings for games in your area.
How much couch time are you putting in on that day?
That could be a little bit there. Well earned, by the way. Loose puck, and that squirted underneath. Backstrom goes to the back wall, and then Speed hustles up to keep it in and dumps it back into the corner. Ryan Smith ties up Zhidlitsky on the back wall. In comes Schultz. So a little switch up in the defensive pairings in this game so far as Belanger's shot is tipped and then redirected in by Ryan Smith. It's 1-0 Oilers. So far as Belanger's. A little switch up in the defensive pairings in this game so far as Belanger's shot is tipped and then redirected in by Ryan Smith. It's 1-0 Oilers.
Andy Sutton, first goal. 2-0.
One of the ways to describe Ryan Smith is net front presence. He has exceptional net front presence. He gets right in there to the top of the crease. He screens, he crashes, he falls on the goaltender. He does anything he can to be a part of the play at the top of the crease. I don't know how much of that he got. I think he got a little bit of it, but he got enough to redirect it past. Oh boy, that was terrific. As you take a look at some extra super slow-mo there in our Fox-mo, what a nice deflection as he redirects it away from himself and the right pad of Nicholas Backstrom, and he uses the entire net going off the pipe and in. He is so good in that regard. And as a defenseman, you got to know when he's on the ice, and you also have to know where he's going to go. It's generally to the top of the net.
Well, we've talked so much about the teenagers and the youngsters. The 35-year-old veteran gets the scoring started in this one. Even shot from the point by Stoner.
16
center goes off the stick of Payarby.
Payarby.
And here come the Wild back.
Payarby.
Pushed ahead to the near wall, and then hit there is Clutterbuck. Comes loose. Jones has it. Jones clears it out to center. That got by everybody, and Backstrom will play it back in the other end. Backstrom behind the goal. Stoner up the middle. Puts it on the tape of the stick to the left wing side, and that's Clutterbuck who just dumps it in. He splits back to the Minnesota bench for a change on the fly. Oilers with 8 shots, 1 goal. Wild 3 shots, still looking to get one past Javi Bulin. Spurgeon heading back. Spurgeon out to center. Ballmer got a piece of it. The icing is waved off as we get the touch in the other end. Here comes Powell with a hit.
And someone's going to get a penalty, and I believe it's going to go to the Oilers for boarding. It might be on the hit against Staubitz, because Staubitz negated the icing, and I think he took a bit of a hit on the shoulder blades. The cross check, not boarding, but nevertheless, watch right here. Yeah, he gets the hands up. Big Andy Sutton really didn't need to do that. I think he just wanted to keep Staubitz from making a play with the puck, but given his size, the former Wild defender could have just leaned on Staubitz. Instead, he gets the cross check, And the Wild with a great opportunity on the power play here.
Power play. First one of the game. 3 for 13 on the young season.
Keep in mind,
Touching the effort, even the near wall. Didn't play Stoner. Up, Easton goal. Spurgeon out there.
for Ping.
Out with a hit.
And someone's going to get a penalty, and I believe it's going to go to the Oilers for boarding. Someone's going to get a penalty. Gustavits negated the icing, and I think he took a bit of a Gustavits negated the icing, and I think he took a bit of a hit on the shoulder blades.
And here's where it's a cross-check. As we get the touch in the other end. Here comes Powell with a hit. The icing is waved off as we get the touch in the other end. Here comes Powell with a hit.
And someone's going to get a penalty, and I believe it's going to go to the Oilers for boarding. It might be on the hip of. That's up. And the Wild with a great opportunity on the power play.
Power play. First one of the game. They're 3 for 13 in the young season.
Which means Captain Nine. Pierre-Marc Bouchard is back in the lineup, as we spoke about, which means he's back on that #1 power play unit on the right point.
And he has the puck. Leads it ahead to Captain Nico Koivu. Koivu to Heatley. Heatley setting up on the half wall. Winning down low. Back out on top to Bouchard. Zhidlitsky on the right side. Fires a shot. Tipped on goal. Great save with a rebound cleared to the corner as Heatley sent that one right in on Abibulin. Zhidlitsky again fires. This one was blocked by Schmid to the corner. Ties up there with Heatley. Here comes Nico Koivu to help out. Koivu to Setaguchi. Setaguchi changing direction. Setaguchi trying to get it over to Heatley. That was intercepted. And the Oilers will clear to center. KRV drives it in on the Minnesota goal. Backstrom plays it behind, and the Wild will gather up.
What a terrific play to the middle of the ice. And that was a goal in the game against Columbus at the other end of the ice. That's the kind of goal Heatley scored, his only one of the season so far. Spurgeon rotated right, and the shot was taken there by Scandella and cleared again by the Oilers.
Let's go, Oilers.
Down to 38 to go in the penalty time, and the power play for Minnesota. There's the Edmonton native, Jared Spurgeon.
Let's go, Oilers.
Hot time dress. Trying to chip it back to the middle. Plugs it, pops it down. He gets knocked down, and the puck is cleared again.
Surge, let's go, Wild minutes. Skip navigation.
Spurgeon.
Play keyboard. Play.
Spins
Channel
away.
watermark image. Channel watermark. YouTube video player.
And now carries out to neutral ice. From center, drives it in. He broke the stick of Jones as he dumped it in. Another buck on the forecheck with a big hit. Final seconds of the penalty time by Andy Sutton. And he'll be back. Sutton did play for the Wild first couple of seasons here in Minnesota. Couple of shots on goal in that power play for the Wild. Loose puck turned over.
The first period
goes wide. Little crack around to the point. Schultz bouncing puck, and he couldn't get that thing to settle down and get a playoff. Back the other way comes Taylor Hall. Hall with a wrist shot on goal and a pad save by Backstrom. At the other side is Gillies. Colton flying into the end. Colton stops, looks. Brodziak, high slot, carries to the corner. Now Brodziak in front. Tipped in on goal. And another big save by Abibulin. Colton stops, looks. Brodziak, high slot, carries to the corner. Now Brodziak in front. Tipped in on goal. Big save by Abibulin. Wild getting to help the Oilers in the first period.
1 Oilers.
YouTube.
And another big save by Abibulin.
Welcome back. Edmonton up 1-0, but the Wild are doing everything they can to try and get back into this one. Look at this. Some nice plays. Brodziak will center it, and a nice little redirect there by Darryl Powell. Abibulin's been very sharp in this game because the Wild have been getting efforts from not just their top line, but we've seen something from the top 3, even the fourth line. Abibulin looking very sharp early on in this one.
Koivu and Sean Horkoff on the draw, a couple of veterans.
YouTube it.
Horkoff came over as a free agent in July.
Score!
Around in front of these Oiler goals, and
Colton Gillies ties the game at 2.
It's a nice little redirect. Edmonton up 1-0, but the Wild are doing everything they can to try and get back into this one. Look at this. Some nice plays. Brodziak will center it, and a nice little redirect there by Darryl Powell. Bobby Boulin's been very sharp in this game because the Wild have been getting efforts from not just their top line, but we've seen something from the top 3, even the fourth line. Bobby Boulin looking very sharp early on in this one.
Scandella and Bouchard.
YouTube. Oh, Steve is here. YouTube video player group.
Sean Horkoff flew out in front of his own goals, pushed away by Bouchard. After the goal was dumped in from center ice there by Coyote. Jones getting poked away from him. Off the boards. Gucci, Horkoff, Minnesota line. Harvey got spun around. Kansas runs it out of the Minnesota end. This is Stoner. Takes it across where it's dumped into the Edmonton zone. Stoner and Sandin, the two defensemen, will change up here. Almost a turnover. Now back to Zielinski. He shoots right on. A rebound by Gillies is turned away by Bobby Boulin, who didn't have much business in the first half of the period, but now he's had to make some big stops.
Well, sometimes your forecheck creates a chance right away. Sometimes it intercepts it at the blue line. That's what happened with the Wild. They made him turn it over.
Gilbert's wrist shot didn't get through. And the Wild will clear ahead to center ice. Tipped ahead there by Clutterbuck and in. He was the only guy the first half of the period.
Yeah, he certainly was. The Wild are doing a better job getting the players in there with good body position and creating turnovers. And this defense, which is a little bit suspect for the Oilers, has been giving up some pucks.
Scandella. Off a deflection there by Lattau Press. It's back in to Marco Scandella, the 21-year-old defender. Gets it off of Lattau Press down into the Oilers zone. Here's Bouchard. Got Cullen in front. It's taken away from Bouchard and led back out to center where it's chipped ahead. Picked up by Matt Cullen. Cullen to Scandella. Scandella into the zone deep. Bobby Boulin leaves it there. Loose in front, a rebound. Bouchard with a great chance. And somehow they avoid destruction and keep the puck out of the net again. Wow. Clayton Stoner leads it ahead. Howe just saw that hit coming at the last second from Theo Peckham. Howe returns the favor with a big hit down low. That one on Anton Lander. There's a wrist shot taken by Palmer that misses the mark. Held in by Zanin. And now Staubitz out in front trying to stir things up with Theo Peckham. And Theo Peckham decides he doesn't want any of it. I think they're both going to go anyway.
Well, the Wild, they're starting to get chances, but the reason why is the forecheck. Watch this right here. Bobby Boulin waits a little too long, and then he makes this errant pass to the front of the net. Boy, you don't do that. You don't do that to your forward, especially your first overall pick this year. He just tosses that hand grenade to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. The Wild almost tied the game with that bad play, but the Wild are forechecking and creating the situation where either defenders, in this case the goaltender, have to make a bad decision. And they're taking advantage of it by getting shots. They just haven't been able to score yet.
So Peckham and Staubitz both go for slashing. And so we'll get ourselves into a couple of minutes of 4-on-4 with just over 2 minutes to go here in the first period of play. And you see Theo Peckham.
See a lot more of him, I'm sure, before the game's out.
Koivu and Heatley up front for the Wild. You've got Lander and Eberle, a couple of young players up front for Edmonton to start this 4-on-4 little session. Across the line into the Minnesota zone. Eberle kicked it to the wall. Zielinski is there. He gets taken off the puck. Lander has it in the corner. Back behind the Minnesota goal. Long pass up the middle of the ice. Controlled there. Here's Heatley. Heatley peels back looking for help. Jidlitsky spins away. Had to get away from Eberle. Lander comes back, takes care of the puck, and starts it up on the left wing side.
The fourth after picking up some pucks.
And Wild, this kid Peckham from Eberle. Lander comes back, takes care of the puck, and starts it up on the left wing side. Petrie to the Minnesota line.
Slider at 26 minutes, 26 seconds of it.
Case the goaltender, but things up with Theo Peckham, and Theo Peckham decides he doesn't want it. They're both going to go anyway.
Well, the Wild are starting to get chances, but the reason why is the forecheck. Watch this right here. Bobby Boulin waits a little too long, and then he makes his errant pass to the front of the net point.
Zanin, and now Staubitz out in front trying to stir things up with Theo Peckham, and Theo Peckham decides he doesn't want any of it, but I think they're both going to go anyway.
Well, the Wild, they're starting to get chances, but the reason why is the forecheck. Watch this right here. Bobby Boulin waits a little too long, and then he makes his errant pass to the front of the net. Boy, you don't do that. You don't do that to your forward, especially your first overall pick this year. He just tosses that hand grenade to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Number 24,
The Wild almost tied the game with that bad play, but the Wild are forechecking and creating the situation where Nugent, overall pick this year, he just tosses that hand grenade to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Number 24, 2 minutes of slack.
Goals for the Large Hockey League.
What a save! The Wild on the decision. And do more of him, I'm sure. Tosses that hand grenade to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Number 24, 2 minutes of slack.
Forward is the
Peckham and is lone after the Minnesota end. This is Stone after the period
doing a better job.
Petrie.
6 sliders left. 26 minutes, 47 seconds. 26.
Taylor Hall starts it back to center. Ball across the line, and he faked out his own winger on the play at the blue line, and they're offside at the Minnesota line. Let's take a look at our Menards game reset. Smith is the only goal for Edmonton. Belanger and Eberle, his line mates, got the assist. And there you see that number. 07, January of 07, the last Oiler win here in
YouTube
St.
video
Paul.
player group.
There you see that number. 07, January of 07, the last Oiler win here in St. Paul. There was a time before that when the Oilers had the Wild number almost as in dominating fashion as that.
Yeah, you thought the Wild would never beat the Oilers. Now it's just quite the reverse.
Cullen trying to steal it away from Javi Boulin, and he almost did.
Well, Javi Boulin, not known as a great puck mover. He's made a couple of gaffes here in this game already. They have not cost him, but that's one thing. And Wes Wells talked about good puck placement and keeping it away from goaltenders. Normally, you want to keep it away from goaltenders that are very good at moving the puck. You also want to keep it away from them, from ones that don't as well, because it's better for you to get in on your forecheck and create turnovers that way. But when the puck does get behind the Oiler net right now, Javi Boulin's made a couple of interesting plays. So the Wild will take them any way they can get them.
Yeah, if he's going to throw the puck out in the slot, I say give it to him. See what happens.
Dump it right in on him.
Stoner to Sannon in the Minnesota zone. Under a minute to go here in the first period. It's a little bit of a slow start for the home team, but they've played much better here in the second half of the period. 20 shots on goal. Our proof of that is now 11-9 favoring Edmonton. Here's a quick wrister off the glove of Backstrom. That was former Wild center Eric Belanger firing that shot. He had 108 points in a Wild sweater. Setaguchi had to wait for that puck, and you know that puck would have caught up with him, but it went right through the front of the bench area where it's all chewed up and the most snow is on the ice, and it just came to a dead stop here very late in the period.
YouTube video player group.
Jidlitsky,
Next
final
short section.
seconds.
Hot 6 sliders at 28 minutes, 45 seconds of it.
Along the boards, Brodziak is pinched off. The horn blows, and the period comes to an end. And Staubitz and Peckham say hello. And they will head down the tunnel to the locker rooms. 1-0 Edmonton leads after one period of play. Tunnel to the locker rooms. 1-0 Edmonton leads after one period of play. Gorgon Greenway will battle it up in face-off. Edmonton leads after one period of play. Gorgon Greenway will battle it up in
some of the chances too, and the Wild need to keep that in mind. But Javi Bulin has made some stellar saves. Both goaltenders actually have been very good in that period.
Everything's going on in that little chat.
Well, you know what? Mike Yeo, I love his demeanor, and I'm sure the players love it too. They say he's intense, but he directs a message all the time. He's always got a message. He's not overly emotional, and it's a great thing to see the players liking a coach that's a first-time head coach in the National Hockey League this early, because usually with a new system, there's a lot of frustration involved with that. Wild don't seem to be showing those signs. They seem to be showing the signs of guys that really are trying to work through this.
Sit-ups, toss, Stone. With a backhand that goes through. So it'll be an icing call here. And Smeed going down, and Smeed has the position on Bouchard, so it'll be an icing call here against the Wild.
Well, good to see these guys back together. Guillaume Latendresse and Pierre-Marc Bouchard, of course, coming off a suspension. And Matt Cohen said to me that before Bouchard got suspended, he really likes playing with Bouchard because Bouchard reminds him of Ray Whitney, a guy he used to play with in Carolina when they won the. Well, he says he's the kind of guy who can really buy a lot of time for you and dish the puck off you. So Cullen, I think, could have a through this.
We are underway in the second period here. Brodziak intercepts one. Stouts looks, dishes it off across the line. Here's Gillies with a shot. It's blocked. And a good play by Tom Gilbert coming back to keep Clutterbuck away from that rebound. That puck gets by a couple of Wild sweaters. And dropped back to Sutton. Big Andy Sutton got traded in July for Curtis Foster. A couple of big dudes. Foster is now in Anaheim. Little bouncing puck. Payarvi settles it down, leads it across. Gilbert tried to dump it in front, and a skate save on the centering attempt by Nick Schultz. Tipped around in front again. Here's Sutton walking in. Sutton makes a move, gets knocked down, still loose in front. And finally, Gillies picks it up and clears it around the wall, and Clutterbuck will just bank it off the boards and gets it out of the Minnesota zone.
On both those plays from either side of the net, you saw Backstrom challenge the shooter, and they're just tossing it to the front of the net. They're hoping that some more net front presence like Ryan
Perry's around him. Ryan Smith with a wrist shot, and that one's stopped by the glove of Nicholas Backstrom. And the Oilers come out energized here in the second period. Chances were even in the first 20 minutes at 5-a-side. Shots on goal favored the Oilers 12-9 through 1. Everything was pretty close. 2-2. Here's Greg Zanin. Leads it around to Stoner. Taps it ahead to Mikko Koivu, and the Wild captain sends it in deep. Around on the boards, it got by, but it's held in by Zanin. Behind for Heatley in front. Setaguchi with a shot. Koivu with a backhand that goes just wide of the goal. Now Heatley battling with Eberle along the far boards. In comes Koivu. It bounces free across the blue line where Clayton Stoner picks it up. Koivu had it poke checked away. Eberle leads it out left side. There's Ryan Smith. Tried to dump it in deep, didn't get it in deep. And then Spurgeon fanned on his attempt to lead it ahead to Latendresse. And that just slowed down that play completely where the Wild take over. Here's Jared Spurgeon with the loose puck again. Bouchard and Smeed going down, and Smeed has the position on Bouchard, so it'll be an icing call here against the Wild.
He likes the draft.
He has on Bouchard. Bouchard and Smeed going down, and Smeed has the position on Bouchard, so it'll be an icing call here. Here's Jared Spurgeon with the loose puck again. Bouchard and Smeed going down, and Smeed has the position on Bouchard, so it'll be an icing call here.
Makes it 3-2 Minnesota.
Well, good to see these guys back together. Guillaume Latendresse and Pierre-Marc Bouchard, of course, coming off the suspension. And Matt Cullen said to me that before Bouchard got suspended, he really likes playing with Bouchard because Bouchard.
Next keyboard shortcut. Seek slider at 33 minutes 2 seconds. 33, 34 minutes.
Kind of get in front of him and bull. He's a very big tank. You cannot move him. You just have to hope to kind of get in front of him. And Montandres continues to use that size.
It's the 11th first down.
He did say that he lost a little bit of weight and is in very good shape this season. But he didn't lose so much. Did not move him, especially last game against Ottawa. He's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move him. Last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a big fella. But Montandres, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move him. Guillaume Montandres, and Dan, you spoke about it a little bit earlier. Andy Sutton's a very big fella, but Montandres, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move him. You just have to hope to kind of get earlier. Andy Sutton's a very big fella, but Montandres, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move him. You just have to hope to kind of get
There was goaltender challenge.
in front of him. Montandres, and Dan, you spoke about it a little bit earlier. Andy Sutton's a very big fella, but Montandres, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like Montandres, and Dan, you spoke about it a little bit earlier. Andy Sutton's a very big fella, but Montandres, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move him. You just have to hope to kind of get in front of him. And Montandres continues to use that size. And we did say that he lost a little bit of weight and is in very good. And Dan, you spoke about it a little bit earlier. Andy Sutton's a very big fella, but Montandres, especially last game. Guillaume Montandres, and Dan, you spoke about it a little bit earlier. Andy Sutton's a very big fella, but Montandres, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull.
No item in Eagle.
He's like a tank. You cannot move. You spoke about it a little bit earlier. Andy Sutton's a very big fella, but Montandres, especially last game against Ottawa, he's like a bull. He's like a tank. You cannot move him. You just have to hope to kind of get in front of him. And Montandres continues to use that size. And we did say that he lost a little bit of weight and is in very good shape this season.
Setaguchi with a steal.
But he didn't lose so much that he's not still effective with that size.
Well, he's got a little bit lower center of gravity than Andy Sutton. And that sometimes plays to your advantage.
So what you're saying is he can easily submarine him anytime he wants. Yeah.
Sutton's 6'6", and Guillaume not that tall.
See Daryl Sador having a chat with him. Daryl Sador was a defenseman, but he certainly knows plenty about forwards, having faced them. 18 years in the National Hockey League. Most of them with the Dallas Stars, a couple Stanley Cups, including one with Hobby Boulin in Tampa Bay.
Here's Belanger into the Minnesota zone. Belanger fanned on a centering attempt. Now Petrell in the corner. Knocked away from him to the near side. Sutton stepped up. Payarvi has it. Jadlitsky and Payarvi battle on the backboards. Koivu comes in. Payarvi pinched off by Mikko Koivu. Koivu to Setaguchi. Setaguchi to the boards. Jones keeps it in. He's hit there by Heatley. Bouncing puck, and where to go? It ended up in the Oiler bench and out of play.
Well, Danny Heatley, I'm sure he's glad to be back in the warm confines of the XL Energy Center after a boo fest out in Ottawa. And he fared fairly well. I mean, he did get an assist in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other.
It in. He's hit there by Heatley. Bouncing puck, and where to go? End up in the Oiler bench.
Ryan Smith is excited to be back in an Oiler uniform. He's always
Danny
been
Heatley,
even though he left for a couple of years. But here he gets the puck, turns it over in the offensive zone, the wobbly one. This one gets away from him, but he had a little extra steam on this shot in his first game. You can tell when he came out, an emotional greeting back by the fans here in Edmonton. He wanted to give him something to cheer about early. 3 points in the preseason. 2 games played. Dupuis gives it to Joe Vitale. Vitale stopped. John Horton, kind of fitting. It's number 94. Yeah, well, Ryan Smith is excited to be back in an Oiler uniform. He's always been an Oiler, even though he left for a couple of years. But here he gets the puck, turns it over in the offensive zone.
I'm sure he's glad to be back and assist in that game. Stars, a couple Stanley Cups, including one with Hobby. Most of them with the Dallas Stars. A couple 18. including one with Javi Bulin in Tampa Bay.
Here's Belanger into the Minnesota zone. Belanger fanned on a centering attempt. Now Petrell in the corner. Knocked away from him to the near side. Sutton stepped up. Payarvi has it. Jadlitsky and Payarvi battle on the backboards. Koivu comes in. Payarvi pinched off by Mikko Koivu. Koivu to Setaguchi. Setaguchi to the boards. Jones keeps it in. He's hit there by Heatley. Bouncing puck, and where to go and end up in the boards. Jones keeps the bench and out of play. Bouncing puck, and where to go and end up in the Oiler bench and out of play.
Well, Danny Heatley, I'm sure he's glad to be back in the warm confines of the XL Energy Center after a boo fest out in Ottawa. And he fared fairly well. I mean, he did get an assist in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other. Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but you can already see the makings of some very creative plays.
He was booed a lot. Second most player that was booed was Sergei Gonchar, and he played for Ottawa. So
the Dallas was not picked up, but then he was traded, and the reason why is because the Dallas Stars needed his salary to get back to the NHL cap floor. And so it actually, I was talking to Chuck Fletcher on the way over to the rink here from the office this morning, and he said this is a great thing for everybody. It was a great thing for the Wild because they get to move a player that they couldn't use right now. It's a great thing for Nystrom because he obviously has the Dallas Stars needed his salary to get back to the NHL cap floor.
The Pittsburgh Penguins coming in
for
their third game in 4 nights.
I was talking to Chuck Fletcher on the way over to the rink here
before the game
from the office this morning, and he said
that's where they excel and how they've won the last 2 games. For the Oilers, use this emotion. Home opener, stacked crowd in here at Rexall Place. Use it to their benefit. Check really, that's very important. Dan Bilesma told us before the game to establish that forecheck really, that's where they excel and how they've won the last 2 games. For the Oilers, use this emotion. Home opener, stacked crowd in here at Rexall Games to establish that forecheck really, that's where they excel and how they've won the last 2 games. For the Oilers, use this emotion. Home opener, stacked crowd in here at Rexall Place
because they get to that could play in the National Hockey League where he belongs, and it's a good thing for Dallas because they get to that cap floor like the time did not of the
puck and where to go and end up in the keeps it in. He's hit there by Heatley. Bouncing puck and where to go and end up in the Oilers scores.
Danny Heatley, I'm sure he's glad to be back in the warm confines of the XL Energy Center after a boo fest out in Ottawa. He fared fairly well
at the bench and out of play by Heatley. Bouncing puck and where to go and end up in the Oiler bench and out of play.
Well, Danny Heatley, I'm sure he's glad to be back in the warm confines of the XL Energy Center after a boo fest out in Ottawa. He fared fairly well. I mean, he did get an assist in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any
and setting a point end up in the Oiler bench and out of play.
Well, Danny Heatley, I'm sure
Jones Oiler bench and out of play.
Well, Danny Heatley, I'm sure he's glad to be back in the warm confines of the XL Energy Center after a boo fest out in Ottawa. And he fared fairly well. I mean, he did get an assist in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year.
Goaltender's challenge. Fires to the goal.
Play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but you can always an assist passed out in Ottawa, and he fared fairly well. I mean, he did get an assist in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line, after a boo fest out in Ottawa, and he fared fairly well. I mean, he did get an assist in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but you can already see the making on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. He fared fairly well. I mean, he did get an assist in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. He has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Good goal. Still getting used to each other, but you can already see the makings of some very creative plays. He was good, which is going to win that game. On a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi already in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but you can already see this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in that game on a power play goal, and he has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line has a couple of good opportunities already in this one. I don't think there's any question that that line with Koivu and Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but Setaguchi is going to just light it up this year. Still getting used to each other, but you can already see the makings of some very creative plays.
He was booed a lot. The second most player that was booed was Sergei Gonchar, and he played for Ottawa. So,
well, the Wild did make a trade as we jump to a separate subject real quick. But Eric Nystrom was traded. He was called back up on the Ottawa waivers, and he was not picked up, but then he was traded, and the reason why is because the Dallas Stars needed his salary to get back to the NHL cap floor, and so it actually was
Bouchard now to Zhelitsky. Takes the shot right back to Pierre Marc Bouchard. First game back for Bouchard after the suspension. Zhelitsky fires it into the slot. He was hoping to hook up there with Danny Heatley, and that's where you'll find Heatley on that power play, is in the high slot. Heatley has the puck now. Makes a move towards the goal. Puck checked away. Held on to by Koivu. Sent back to the point. Zhelitsky had that blocked by Ryan Smith. Again by Smith, but it goes right to Koivu. Koivu battling there with Smith. It bounces free. Here's Bouchard moving in with a shot, and he broke his stick right in the middle of the shaft on the slap shot. Here's Heatley now without a defender there. Now Heatley controls long enough for Bouchard to get a new stick into the slot, and he tried to bounce one over to Setaguchi, and he bounced it over the blade of the former Shark stick. Now Setaguchi moving in. Setaguchi shoots, and a save by Khabibulin. Another big stop for Khabibulin.
Setaguchi's had a couple of opportunities in this game. Pierre Marc Bouchard winds up, and watch this thing. He just breaks right where the hand is pressing the stick. And good vision here by Zhelitsky, who just gets it over to Setaguchi, and Setaguchi has lots of time. Khabibulin is looking like the Khabibulin of old.
Cullen will take the draw. He scored a minute 10 into the home opener here Saturday, and that win over Columbus of the former Shark stick. Now Setaguchi moving in. Setaguchi shoots. Setaguchi! Saved by Javi Bully! Stop for Javi Bully.
Setaguchi's had a couple of opportunities in this game, and also for the owners, Germar Bouchard
that top line for Malcolm. So some changes there for Edmonton. Their first game, shuffling the blinds, trying to figure things out. Tom Rennie is, and there's an early penalty here for too many men. There's going to be some of that confusion here on the Oilers bench. Lines going over, trying to make that. Richard steps into the lineup on that top line for Malcolm. So some changes there for Edmonton. Their first game, shuffling the blinds, trying to figure things out. Tom Rennie is, and there's an early penalty here for too many men. There's going to be some of that confusion here on the Oilers bench.
Setaguchi shoots, and a save by Javi Bully. Another big stop for Javi Bully.
Setaguchi's had a couple of opportunities down game.
Great work by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins down low to draw this penalty on Vitale as he keeps his feet moving in the defensive zone. Hits the puck down low. 2 hard strides right there. The stick gets it a little deep for Vitale. And as a result, he'll head to the box for Tuesday. The youngster making an impression early, and the Oilers will get their first power play. 58th the time of the penalty. Ryan Smith, Jordan Eberle. 2 hard strides right there. The stick gets it a little deep for Vitale. And as a result, he'll head to the box for Tuesday. The youngster making an impression early, and the Oilers will get their
over to Setaguchi, and Setaguchi has lots of time.
Cullen, 35 seconds that is to go in the penalty time to Theo Peckham. This is Spurgeon weaving his way to center, sends it in, and the Wild are in offside. Have to tag up. Puck is shot out of play. Off a deflection, they'll say. And just 8 seconds to go in the Minnesota power play. The power play in its second opportunity just hasn't quite clicked yet.
I talked to Mike Gill this morning about that. I asked him, are you looking for 1 or 2 set things in your power play? And a good example are the deflections from the middle of the slot. And he said, no, I'm not. I don't want the guys to go into it thinking only one way or thinking they need to go to one area, because then teams will start to read you and you won't know how to adjust. I want them to be creative. I want them to figure things out. I want them in front of the net. I want the use of point. A lot of different scenarios is what he wants to see, because then it's tougher to defend against. And the Wild certainly have the personnel that can come up with some different scenarios.
Andres trying to rub Sutton out on the back wall. Clutterbuck comes away with it. Sutton pokes it free. Now Horkoff trying to clear the zone. Here's that feverish forecheck by the Minnesota Wild. He'll come to the inside to Gilbert. He'll back it ahead. Picked off by Andres on the wing, and that's deflected back to Jared Spurgeon, who settles things down. Spurgeon with a quick give and go there. Ahead to center, now through the neutral zone into the Edmonton end of the rink. Tom Gilbert has it. Cullen takes it away. Cullen had it slide off his stick. Clutterbuck has it. Now Clutterbuck tried to return it to Cullen. Picked off. Here's Hall. Taylor Hall left side. He fires a shot that rises over the shoulder of Backstrom and off the back glass. Here's Cullen in the corner. Zanin helps it along. Pinching in at the point is Cam Barker. Cam Barker signed here in the summer. July 1st as a free agent after spending some time here for the Wild. 1 season, 71 games. At the Wild blue line, long wrist shot goes all the way through to Backstrom, and he'll glove it, keep it, and we'll step away for just a moment.
Midway point of the hockey game, Oilers lead 1-0 here in downtown St. Paul. Heard health injury report. The face of the National Hockey League, he's number 87 for the Penguins, Sidney Crosby, and he's been cleared for full contact as of today. He last played on January 5th of 2011. He was concussed at that point. Crosby and the Penguins in town Tuesday. There's a slight chance he'll be in the lineup. His teammate Evgeny Malkin, who's also missed some time this year, is playing tonight and will likely play Tuesday against the Wild. It's a tough schedule here in this homestand after the Oilers guys. On Saturday, the Red Wings come to town. Then it's the high-flying Penguins, so Wild better pack a lunch.
Scandella shoots. Glove save.
Wild is starting to do the things that are going to give them success ultimately.
Kevin, after the game, just take it easy. Even though I've been clear, just keep going to
He excels at. Everybody knows how efficient he is. Relentless in front of the net on the power play and 5-on-5. That's where he's been a star, is being in front of the net, creating a distraction. And Thomas Holmstrom with maybe a little more skill, Ryan Smith, but he's made his whole career from going to those tough areas.
Kevin, have you been cleared for
that is the high-flying Penguin, so
power play this year. And this is something we saw the last
45
time.
on
Have you been
here.
cleared for full contact? Because I'd like to know that for next face. And 5-on-5. That's where he's been a star, is being in front of the net, creating a distraction. And Thomas Holmstrom with maybe a little more skill, Ryan Smith, but he's made his whole career from going to those tough areas.
On Saturday, the Red Wings come to town. That is the high-flying Penguin. So
this is something we saw the last time Ryan was here.
for full contact. Wow, it's a tough schedule to get some time this year. He is playing tonight and will likely play two. Take it easy.
Turn this around. Virgin moves in. Dallas shoot them success. Save. Habibul and he'll keep it.
The Wild are starting to do the things that are going to give them success ultimately here, and that is shoot the puck. Mike Yo's talked about that all season long. Into the preseason as well, he's talked about it. That's basically just getting pucks that are going to give them success ultimately here, and that is shoot the puck. Mike Yo's talked about that all season long. Into the preseason as well, he's talked about it. That's basically just getting pucks to the net. It creates more chances right there, a deflection or possible deflection. In front, Scandella wiring one as well. There aren't a lot of the Wild as well. In front, Scandella wiring one as well. There aren't a lot of the Wild point men who have what you call bombs for shots, but it doesn't always take that to score goals. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting it to the net. Always take that to score goals. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting it to the net. It doesn't. Wild, he's well pass ultimately here.
They move right past Heasley on the right to the point. Quickly, Spurgeon moves in. He shoots off a deflection. Right past Heasley on the rebound. Again, Scandella shoots. Glove save.
Wild is starting to do the things that are going to help.
Cullen waiting, fires, shoots, he scores! The line, down at the blue line as it got caught up in the Guillaume Latendresse. Now comes loose to Cullen. Cullen with Stoner. Cullen waiting, fires, shoots, he scores!
Cullen scored 12 goals last year. 7 of them were even strength. He already has 3 even strength goals this season. And Matt Cullen definitely having the kind of start that he wanted. Look at that, pick up a loose puck. He's got Stoner over there, which isn't to say he won't pass it to him, but he has a better angle. And why not take it? That was a beautiful wrist shot. Latendresse was coming in on the play, and by Latendresse driving into the zone, it keeps Gilbert honest. Gilbert can't just attack Matt Cullen. So by Stoner and Latendresse,
right on the stick feet of Guillaume Latendresse. Now goes Mr. Cullen. Cullen with Stoner. Cullen waiting, fires, shoots, he scores!
2 goals in 6 seconds!
Scored 12 goals last year. 7 of them were even strength. He already has 3 even strength goals this season. And Matt Cullen definitely having the kind of start that he wanted. Look at that, pick up a loose puck. He's got Stoner over there, which isn't to say he won't pass it to him, but he has a better angle. And why not take it? That was a beautiful wrist shot. Latendresse was coming in on the play, and by Latendresse driving into the zone, it keeps Gilbert honest. Gilbert can't just attack Matt Cullen. So by Stoner and Latendresse driving up the ice, it gives Matt Cullen the time that he needs, and he makes a beautiful wrist shot over the glove. And the Wild get on the front play, and driving up the ice, getting into the zone, and keeps Gilbert honest. Gilbert can't just attack. Matt Cullen. So by Stoner, Gilbert can't just attack.
5-2 Minnesota.
So by Stoner and Latendresse driving up the ice, it gives Matt Cullen the time that he needs, and he makes a beautiful wrist shot over the glove. And the Wild get on the board. You can see the smile on Cullen's face.
I didn't think he passed to Stoner. He didn't think he passed to Stoner. Stoner didn't think so. But it forces Javi Lewin to recognize there is a player there.
He would though pass to Latendresse, who did come into the picture. He passed to Stoner if he had to. Oh, he did the right thing. That's the problem. Some players give up the puck too easily sometimes. They're trying to make the perfect play. Well, you shoot the puck, and it works for him.
Near the midpoint of the period, it's the shot from Jones. Leads it out easily. Kyle Brodziak, the former Oiler, gets to center, dumps it in. Clutterbuck on the chase. Javi Lewin knocks it away from the hits leader in the NHL.
Look at that.
That's the line. Cullen. Cullen is Stoner. Cullen.
Brodziak.
Fire, shoots.
He scores! He scores! Kyle Brodziak! The former Edmonton Oiler! 6-2 Minnesota!
Minnesota Wild playing 11 goal UV.
Oilers fans.
Matt Cullen scored 12 goals.
Cheering for him.
Matt Cullen scored.
Today's second goal.
Matt Cullen scored 12 goals last year. Seven of them were even strength. He already has 3 even strength goals this season. And Matt Cullen definitely having the kind of start that he wanted. Look at that, pick up a loose puck. He's got Stoner over there, which isn't to say he won't pass it to him, but he has a better angle. And why not take it? That was a beautiful wrist shot. Latendresse was coming in on the play, and by Latendresse driving into the zone, it keeps Gilbert honest. Gilbert can't just won't pass it to him, but he has a better angle. And why not take it? That was a beautiful wrist shot. Latendresse was coming in, which isn't to say he won't pass it to him, but he has a better angle. And why not take it? That isn't to say he won't pass it. This shot. Latendresse was coming in on the play, and by Latendresse driving into the zone, it keeps Gilbert honest. Gilbert can't just attack Matt Cullen. So by Stoner and Latendresse driving up the ice, it gives Matt Cullen the time that he needs, and he makes a beautiful wrist shot over the glove, and the Wild get on the board. Great to see the smile on Cullen's face.
I didn't think he passed to Stoner. He didn't think he passed to Stoner. Stoner didn't think so. But it forces Javi Lewin to recognize there is a player there.
Well, and he would though pass to Latendresse, who did come into the picture. He'd pass to Stoner if he had to. No, he did the right thing. That's the problem. Some players give up the puck too easily sometimes.
Now, behind the Edmonton, it has been a huge increase
Easy time
since the early portions of this game. Peckham.
Wild working the 1-2-2 there very nicely. You see the Oilers did not have an easy time getting out of the zone and eventually iced the puck because of it.
Nope.
Well, join Ron
70 volume
Gardenhire
reverse.
to relive the greatest moments he's witnessed in his 20 years on the Twin staff. Watch In My Own Words, Ron Gardenhire, Friday after Gopher Hockey only on Fox Sports North.
Is he going to use signs? Is that his own words?
He might. Guess he won't mention anything about the time he played goalie here against the Oilers.
Hey, he got in there. I got to give credit for that.
Wasn't pretty.
No item abuse.
Paul.
YouTube video player.
Jefferson Jaguars sends it through the neutral zone. Jelitsky turned it over, picked up by Nugent Hopkins. Hall, for back wall. Spurgeon and Hall battle down low. Koivu trying to get it from Nugent Hopkins, and now Hall has it. Hall sends it back to the point, but Devin Setaguchi picked it off. Setaguchi to center. He's got Heatley on one wing. His poke checked away. Koivu had already gone to the bench for a change, so they were outnumbered on the play. Dumped out into the high slot, now kicked right back to the corner by Eberle. He loses an edge and goes down. Leg pass ahead now. Here comes Heatley, still on the ice. Banks it ahead into the zone. Setaguchi in on the forecheck. Heatley goes to the bench. Little bouncing puck. Knocked back into the corner by Pierre-Marc Bouchard. Bouchard ridden off by Tom Gilbert. Good physical play by Tom Gilbert. Sutton has the puck. Now to Belanger. And now flipped ahead into the Minnesota zone. We started this game with a pretty good pace. It has not let up really at all, has it?
It's been the kind of skating game that we've seen in the past between these two clubs. The difference is the Wild are now also a skating team, so it makes for a good flow in a hockey game.
Brodziak fakes the shot, drives in, puts a wrist shot on goal, juggled a bit there by Javi Bulin, but he hangs on. Matt Cullen has his third goal of the season for the Wild.
Welcome back. We got a 1-1 game.
Juggled hockey game. Brodziak fakes the shot, drives in, puts a wrist shot on goal, juggled a bit there by Javi Bulin, but he hangs on. Matt Cullen has his third goal of the season for the Wild, but he hangs on. Matt Cullen has his third goal of the season by Javi Bulin. Matt Cullen has his third goal of the season for the Wild.
Welcome back. We got a 1-1 game. We're on the bench with Wild forward Danny Heatley. First period, the Oilers had some good chances, but you guys are taking over right now. What's been the biggest difference?
I think just our pace, like you said. I think, came a little flat. I think second period we picked it up. Getting it behind their D and getting in on them.
All right, guys, up to you.
Well, he's right. The pace really has picked up from the first period, in particular for the Wild. And I think they're playing their system a lot better in this period.
Bouchard creating some space, dumps it ahead for Cullen. Cullen at the hash mark, sends it in the corner. Laton Dress waiting, now trying to get around Sean Horkoff. Back for Bouchard, they cycle down low. Nicely done to Cullen. Cullen turns back, kicks it ahead. Cullen, drop pass, puts it right on the tape of the stick of Bouchard. There's some chemistry out there. That line is clicking right now. Here's Jelitsky, waiting, fires one, lobs one towards the goal. Big rebound, but luckily it was gathered up by the Oilers and cleared out. Impressive shift of offensive zone cycling there for that Cullen line. Bouchard. Now Setaguchi has it as a partial line change is underway. Back to Pierre-Marc Bouchard. Out to the point. Jelitsky moving in. Looks, waits. Now crosses at center. His shot is blocked. Zanin had slipped behind him at the flip-flop sides as Jelitsky was looking for a lane to shoot through. Nugent Hopkins down. Pumps it in front, looking for Taylor Hall. Back to Peckham at the point. Sends it into the corner, off the boards, off the back of the goal. Check on the back wall there by Zanin, and it's flipped ahead to Setaguchi. Took a nice bounce to Devin Setaguchi, waiting for help. Drop pass, gets it to Koivu. Mikko in front. Heatley is there, but it's deflected by Danny Heatley. Here comes Hall the other way. Taylor Hall lost it, picked up. Heatley ahead now to Mikko Koivu. Koivu puts on the brakes, into the slot. Heatley with a shot in traffic. Loose puck in front. They can't get to the loose puck. Out in front, Smeed had who was Achilles just tackled in front of the goal. Looked like he was just hitting him to the ice. Smeed has it for Edmonton. Long pass ahead across the Minnesota line to Eric Belanger. Belly's been around a little bit. LA, Carolina, Minnesota, then Washington, Phoenix, and now Edmonton. Dumped in by Clutterbuck. Javi Bulin ran into traffic behind the goal. That was Brodziak. Smith has it. He's hit there by Bulmer. And then a hit along the boards by Clutterbuck.
Seems like every time Javi Bulin gets behind the net, there's problems.
Good aggressive shift by the Wild. Through center, dumped off now for Tom Gilbert. Gilbert tried to center off a deflection. It goes in front of the Minnesota goal to the corner. Belanger and Stoner go in after. Belanger dumps it behind. Ryan Smith centers up in the air. It's deflected to the corner. And now Stoner has it. Sees his man. That's Brodziak. Brodziak waiting. Dumps it ahead off of Clutterbuck. Cam Parker off the boards out to center. Payarvi is there. Knocked away by Brodziak. Wow, doing a change right in front of their own bench.
And I think they're going to get too many men on the ice as Clutterbuck was late on the change. And I think the player coming on either played it or was close enough to it.
We'll be back. Let you know who's going to the penalty box. Wild and Oilers score.
Well, the Wild are going to the penalty box for too many men. Watch this play. The puck's in front of the bench. Staubitz will be jumping over the boards because Clutterbuck was coming on, or off, excuse me. But Clutterbuck sees the puck at the last second, decides to play it. Staubitz is already on the ice, so that's too many men. And there's Clutterbuck hopping the boards, but that's just a little miscommunication. And Staubitz was anticipating Clutterbuck coming off, and I think Clutterbuck just moved there very nicely. You see the Oilers did not have an easy time getting out of the zone. And eventually iced the puck.
Minnesota Q Video Player Group.
Join Rock.
Thank you, shirt. Okay, but
Gardner
out of the zone and eventually iced the puck because of it.
Join Ron Gardner, Minnesota. Relive the greatest.
You see the Oilers did not have an easy time getting out of the zone and eventually iced the puck because of it.
Now join Ron Gardner to relive the greatest moments he's witnessed in his 20 years.
Is that his own words?
He might. Guess he won't mention anything about the time he played goalie here in Minnesota.
Hey, he got in there. I got to give him credit for that.
Wasn't pretty here in Minnesota.
Hey, he got it.
50 minutes, 13 seconds. 51 minutes, 33 seconds.
By Brodziak.
50 men, watch his play. The puck's in front of the bench. Staubitz. So that's two. I think Clutterbuck stop hopping the ball. Staubitz is already on the ice. So that's too many men. Second decides to play it. Staubitz is already on the ice. So that's too many men. Second decides to play it. Staubitz is already on the ice. So that's too many men. And there's Clutterbuck hopping the board. But that's just about he jumped the board.
Goal scored in large hockey arena with large crowd reaction using audio play never used to be deadline and possibly a short season.
Power play. The only other game this season is that win against Pittsburgh. They were 0 for 5 on the power play. Brodziak is
on the ice.
Rice crosses the blue line, dumps it in deep. And the Oilers will see what they can do with their first chance with the man advantage. Shannon got him through traffic all the way down. Powell will go to the bench. Get some fresh legs on the ice. Javi Bulin throws it down at the other end. Shots on goal now even at 17-7. Bouncing in. Bouchard down to a minute to serve. He's serving the too many men penalty. Wild swept all 6 meetings with the Oilers last season. Shot from the point, that got through.
Boy.
And Backstrom got run down, and that's going to result in a penalty.
It's Ryan Smith, and even if Smith was pushed, he's just notorious for running into goaltenders, and he does it again.
As the puck is touched.
And then for the Oilers,
He got caught by Scandella. Is that a case of a guy not knowing where he is or not caring where he is?
I think, trust me, Ryan Smith knows exactly where he is. I think it was a little, I don't know, it's not so much not caring, that I think he just felt that if he could rush in front of Backstrom a little bit, take a piece of his glove and maybe his mask and throw him off, that's a good way to get yourself a goal. But I think he got a little too much. And Backstrom may have been moving out a little bit to cut down the angle. But it's a player's responsibility to stay out of the goaltender's way in that circumstance.
Belanger shorthanded. He drove it over the top of Spurgeon, who went down to block the shot. Backstrom made the save. A little over a minute to go in a Minnesota man advantage. Setaguchi. Koivu. Out to the point. Jedlicki. Right back to Mikko. Setaguchi to Keeley, and he couldn't put it away. A lot of traffic in front. Mikko Koivu. Bouchard. Jedlicki with a drive. It was knocked. Belanger knocked it down. And now it's cleared off the wall and bounces free to the neutral zone. Jedlicki is there waiting for Wild. He'll backpedal to his own blue line. Now ahead across the line. Heatley moving in. Heatley moving in, and he lost it. Poke checked away at the last second. Now Bouchard, top of the circle. Lost it. 20 seconds to go. Here comes Horkoff. Horkoff with Jones to Jones. A backhander. He never got the shot off. He had Backstrom beat. Couldn't pull the trigger.
Mikko Koivu was gassed on the play. He just couldn't get back to take Jones. And Jones had Backstrom out of the net, but lost the puck.
KRV knocked down. Picked up. There's Powell moving in. His shot is blocked. Latendresse with a shot and a save. And the puck goes to the corner. Wild getting chances. Out on top. Here's Sandin with a shot. Just wide. Backhand in front by Cullen is knocked away. Sandin with another shot. That hit a body out in front and goes to the back glass. Oh my, chances galore, but we're still tied at 1. Oh my, chances galore, but we're still tied at 1.
Minnesota.
Wild now 0 for 3 on the power play. Edmonton is 0 for 1. Jedlicki has it with a minute to go in the period. Pushed out to center and beyond. Gilbert back for Nugent Hopkins. He'll carry into the Minnesota zone, sends it around behind. Sandin to Powell. Darryl Powell goes link wide to Guillaume Latendresse. Latendresse is in all alone, trying to battle through a couple of defenders. Gilbert and Petrie were back. Latendresse sends it to the corner. Brodziak. Brodziak finds some space. Circles back. Poked away. As the rookie Nugent Hopkins finally won that little battle along the boards, but it's dumped right back in from center ice by the Wild. Final seconds of our second period. Gillies behind. Brodziak takes it off the dasher. Brodziak tied up by Petrie. Second period winding down. Clutterbuck tried to center right before the horn. He could not. And a very well contested, energetic effort through 2 periods.
5 goals.
Well, the Oilers tried to get the lead again. A good job getting the puck over to Jones, and Koivu just couldn't reach. Jones just hands on what was going to be an open net. He thought he was hooked by Jedlicki, but it's still 1-1.
Stay with us. Kevin Gorg and Matt Cullen will hook up in a few minutes. Wild heading to the locker room, tied at 1 with the Oilers.
Now, body position, ripping with the puck, you're going to give yourself that much more opportunity to turn the puck transition-wise the other way.
Well, Mike Yeo said this morning we need to respect their young, talented players and their speed, and the Wild have done that and made the adjustments, and now we're tied at 1.
One adjustment for the Oilers, I believe that Alex Hemsky is out of the game.
Players and their speed.
One adjustment for the Oilers, I believe that Alex Hemsky is out of the game.
3 seconds.
Larry from Edina has our Toyota text question for tonight. He wants to know which one of those first rounders for the Oilers is going to be the best down the road. And you've got Eberle and you've got phones off a deflected. Larry from Edina has our Toyota text question for tonight. He wants to know which one of those first rounders Edina has our Toyota out of play. Off a deflection by Larry from Edina has our Toyota text question for tonight. He wants to know which one of those first rounders for the Oilers is going to be the best down the road. And you've got Eberle. Come on.
What your size?
Which one of those? Larry last. and then Dress pushed ahead by Jones off a deflection by Cullen. It'll and end up out of play.
8-3. After an 8-goal scoring streak, Ryan
Larry
Nugent-Hopkins
from Edina has our Toyota text question for tonight.
with his second goal. 1 second after that.
Minnesota Q2 video player group.
Larry from Edina has our Toyota text question for tonight. He wants to know which one of those first rounders for the Oilers is going to be the best down the road. And you've got Eberle, and you've got Hall, and you've got Nugent-Hopkins.
Minnesota Wild.
That is moved for a puck.
Bouchard,
Q2 video player group.
tied up by Horvath,
Eberle.
comes free. Cam Barker has it. Barker knocks it away from Guillaume Laton Dress. Pushed ahead by Jones off a deflection by Cullen. It'll climb over the glass. Out of play.
8-4.
Larry from Edina has our Toyota text question for tonight. He wants to know which one of those first rounders for the Oilers is going to be the best down the road. And you've got Eberle, and you've got Hall, and you've got Nugent-Hopkins. Away from Guillaume Laton Dress. Each one hit lineup. So
Different, but
guys that have been away from mom and dad for more than a year. You want those guys in the lineup. And this has to be one of the first round pick of the Oilers. There's a lot of first rounders in the lineup. Some recent, some not so recent. Central zone. Shot on goal. Steers back on the side. Schultz back behind his Zerlinski. Wings it around. Clutterbuck makes the hit. Comes out across the center line. Schneid back in his own end. Oilers making changes. Wild making a few changes as well while they have a moment. Stoner going back. Quickly ahead. Up the middle. Fighting for that bouncing puck was Danny Heaton. Controlled by Schneid back in his own end. Peckham drops it back once again. Schneid blocked 6 shots in that game against Pittsburgh. So he was stepping in front of everything. Setaguchi. Back for Clayton Stoner. Pushed ahead by Zanin. Heatley to Koivu. Mikko around one man in the neutral zone. Koivu lost the puck, fighting to get it back. Bouncing puck. Heatley took a swing at it. Couldn't redirect it towards the goal. And back come the Oilers out. They'll just flip it ahead into the Minnesota zone. Latrell goes into the corner, lost it. Heatley can't gain control. Petrie has it towards the goal, and it goes through. Hall was standing at the far post, but he couldn't get a piece of it. Now Taylor Hall out of the corner. Hall gets tripped up, lost an edge, goes down. Koivu picks up the loose puck, leaves it there with Stoner. Stoner will flip it ahead just to clear the zone. And this one should not be icing as Cam Barker goes back to get it.
Taylor Hall a little incensed that there was no tripping call on that play, but I believe the Wild player who got the stick in there got enough of the puck.
Bouchard, tied up by Horkoff, comes free. Cam Barker has it. Barker knocks it away from Guillaume Laton Dress. Pushed ahead by Jones off a deflection by Cullen. It'll climb over the glass and end up out of play. Larry from Edina has our Toyota text question for tonight. He wants to know which one of those first rounders for the Oilers is going to be the best down the road. And you've got Eberle, and you've got Hall, and you've got Nugent-Hopkins. And
that is not a fair question.
Well, come on, let's go. What do you think?
Well, I mean, Taylor Hall put on some weight, so I mean, he's still trying to get used to his new size. Of course, Nugent-Hopkins is pretty ripe, but he's a big, tall kid that still needs to grow into his size too. Now they're starting to get after him in front of the net a little bit, but
a lot of time dressers grab the hold of each other.
I think such different style players. I mean, Nugent-Hopkins is a playmaker. He's very quick. Hall has a little more grit to him, I think. I don't even want to answer that question. I don't think it's fair to any of them to answer that question.
Hey, Arby was a first rounder. I mentioned Hemsky.
Pull a name out of a hat. I I mean, there's so much talent there, and there's such different styles.
I think they're going to send them both off in this case. Sutton took some shots at La Tendresse, and Guillaume just kind of wrapped.
Have a conversation with the guys in the box, doesn't he?
He's a very friendly young man.
He's just chit-chatting. It's great.
So 4-on-4 for a couple of minutes. Early here in the third period. Wild outshot the Oilers 11-7 in the second period. Have a one-shot edge right now.
16 for the Oilers.
Harvey slows it down, sends it back in his own zone. Meeting 1 of 6 on the upcoming season between these two clubs.
Game 3.
Hemsky centered, Horkoff centered. That was intercepted. And out of the neutral zone, but poked ahead by Brodziak. He was trying to get off the ice, just wanted to put it someplace safe. And the Wild now get 4 sets of fresh legs on the ice. Scandella across to Spurgeon. A drop pass for Danny Heatley. Heatley through center. Heatley to the blue line. Heatley up the middle, winds it up, and the save by Habibulin. And they gave Heatley a lane, and he just drove it in on the goaltender. And now Heatley to Koivu. Mikko on his backhand to Heatley, and a shot and a blocker saved by Habibulin. And he drove it in on the goaltender. And now Heatley to Koivu. Mikko on his backhand to Heatley, and a shot and a blocker saved by Habibulin. Making his presence known.
Koivu, who gave a bit of a look away for one of the Wild players coming in, and look at him. He looks, and he drops back. I think it was the defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be open again.
Heatley came into this game leading the Wild in shots on goal, 10 through 3 games.
I think it was the defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be open again.
Heatley came into this game leading
coming in, and look at him. He looks, and he drops back. I think it was the defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in. Koivu gave a bit of a look away to one of the Wild players coming in, and look at him. He looks, and he drops back. I think it was the defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be in. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else. I think it was the defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be opening. He knew that right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be open again.
Heatley came into this game leading the Wild in shots on goal.
Coming in. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away. He looks, and he drops back. I think it was the defender, Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in. Right there on the far side.
Torture challenge. Therefore, there was no goal.
3-1-10. But he knew that with everyone. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be open again.
Heatley came into this game leading the Wild in shots.
Who might have been coming in.
No item in view.
Right there on the far side, but
new notification from OneDrive.
He knew that with everyone else.
Learn how OneDrive protects your privacy.
Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to.
Basketball shirt that paper.
Jared Spurgeon, who might have been coming in. Right there on the far side, but he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be open again.
Heatley came into this game leading the Wild in shot.
But he knew that with everyone else trying to take that lane away, Heatley would be open again.
Heatley came into this game leading the Wild in shots on goal, 10 through 3 games. And the Oilers take control out of their own end.
That's one thing Heatley is having to get used to, especially with Mikko Koivu, is Koivu likes to give and go. And Joe Thornton was more of a puck carrier until he wanted Heatley to shoot it. So Heatley's starting to get used to Koivu and knowing that he has to open himself up for a pass, because if he gives it back to Koivu, he knows he's going to get it back again when it's time to unleash one like he did right there. I think that's good for Heatley's game, to be honest.
Spurgeon to Setaguchi. Setaguchi to the right side. Stoner with a stop and a nice save by Javi Bulin. Cullen trying to take it away from Belanger. He whips it around to the half boards, and it's flipped out to center ice. Stoner again. Stoner this time ahead to Setaguchi. Setaguchi waiting, fires, shot, saved by Javi Bulin. Another faceoff coming up in the Edmonton zone. A look at our Bud Light. What's on tap? Saturday, Detroit comes to town. Next Tuesday, Pittsburgh is here. And the Wild head for 2 on the road at Edmonton and Vancouver before heading back home October 27th against the Anaheim Ducks. That's your Bud Light. What's on tap? Bud Light. 5 minutes here into the third period. Still even at 1. Powell on the draw. Tried to get it back to the point. Remains in control. Does get it back to the point. That shot by Zanin found its way through to the backboards. Now Bulmer. Staubitz. Schmid on Staubitz. Having a good war in the corner. Comes loose to Horkoff. Right out front. Turns it over. Bulmer shot. Saved by Javi Bulin.
Wow, that was a gift.
Wow.
Bulmer would have been very happy to pick that puck up and wrap a piece of tape around it and write #1 goal in the National Hockey League. That would have been Bulmer's first goal, not first point. But when you have a good forecheck, this is exactly what you do. You create turnovers. Horkoff just tosses a meatball up the middle. You do not make that pass. I'm surprised a guy like Horkoff would have even attempted to make that kind of a move. But he goes right up the middle with it, and Bulmer sneaks in there for the interception, and he almost made it count.
Horkoff, an 11-year veteran, all here with the Edmonton Oilers. He was surrounded by red shirts. Here's Koivu in front. Centers, loose puck. Oh, and swinging away at it was Heatley. Just could not get enough stick on it to put it by Javi Bulin. Zanin's going to get called here for interference along the boards.
Well, body position's one thing, but the player has to have the puck. Wild with good opportunities in this period, and there's Koivu again. Likes to step out, and boy, just out of Heatley's reach. He was sliding away from it. And here's the puck chipped by, and you know what? He's riding him off, and I don't know. I think you got to allow the defender, when the puck's chipped by him, to finish his check, and I think that's what Zanin was doing. The referee felt that Hall chipped it early enough that he should be given the lane.
Second power play of the game for the Oilers. Payarvi. Back out on top. Here's Cam Barker. Right back for Magnus Payarvi. Payarvi shot blocked by Powell. Scandella will bump on Smith. Now Horkoff has it. Scandella caught him from behind. Back in the corner. Ryan Smith has it. Now right back to Sean Horkoff. Smith looking in front. All the way out. Payarvi takes the shot. Dishes it off. Barker with a shot. Went off the skate of Brodziak. Now comes right to Kyle Brodziak. He'll slowly get his way to center and then dumps it softly into the Edmonton zone. And the Wild get 4 fresh penalty killers on the ice here. Hall trying to walk around Stoner. Stoner took the puck away, turns, sweeps it down the length of the ring. Petrie starts it out. Grew up in Ann Arbor, played at Michigan State. Fires it in from the red line.
Boy, that's a
gutsy move.
Yeah, that is. He
Usually if you're from Ann Arbor, you play for Michigan.
You tried it.
If you're from Lansing or East Lansing, you play for Michigan State. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. Tom Gilbert grew up in Minnesota, played for Wisconsin.
That'd be like Nico playing somewhere in Sweden.
Now you're getting carried away. That'd
be like Nico playing somewhere in Sweden.
Now you're getting carried away. Grew up in Minnesota, played for Wisconsin.
That'd be like Nico playing somewhere in Sweden.
Now you're getting carried away. 35 seconds left to go in Zannon's penalty time. Steele. Brodziak turned to Powell, and Powell had no idea that Brodziak had picked the pocket of the Edmonton defender, so he was not expecting that quick pass from Powell Brodziak. What do you think of these pair up front penalty killing? Powell and Brodziak could be as good as any duo killing penalties in the league.
I think the Wild have so many good pairings that they could put together.
Yeah.
That's one of them, obviously. Clutterbuck has done a good job at killing penalties. Koivu's generally a guy that you could put out there in any situation. So many good guys out there that could kill penalties for the Wild.
The Oilers did not get a shot on goal in that power play. They only have one shot so far this period. We're almost 8 minutes deep into it. Dumped in by Peckham. Stopped by Backstrom, leaves it to Stoner. Stoner up along the boards. It gets knocked down in the corner. Stoner battles to get it back, then loses it behind the goal as Ryan Smith comes in. Jones centers. Jones has it back, loose in front. He handcuffed Belanger with that puck. Across the line, Latendresse, now Setaguchi comes away with it to Mikko Koivu. Koivu turning in the corner. Koivu across. Spurgeon towards the goal. It's tipped wide by Devin Setaguchi. Heatley to Setaguchi. Setaguchi now leaves it for Mikko Koivu. Koivu, one-timer by Heatley, partially fanned on. Stepping on was Schultz. Goes all the way in to pick it up. Schultz stepping in, gives it to Mikko Koivu. Koivu to the point, Jidlitsky. Across, Setaguchi. Covering the left point for Schultz. Now Schultz returns to his spot. Held in, Jidlitsky. Schultz towards the goal. On goal. Big rebound. Tucked back in towards him by Belanger. And Hobby Bullen makes a glove save on his own teammate.
Have been like a generous slot machine that just keeps popping pucks up the middle, giving the Wild opportunities. But keep in mind, it's not just the Oilers giving the puck up. The Wild are creating this by their forecheck. They're creating it by taking away any lanes that the Oilers have to get the puck out of the zone. And the Oilers are starting to just even toss it up the middle sometimes, which certainly isn't a good choice. But it's giving the Wild opportunities. If it weren't for Nikolai Khabibulin, the Wild would be up 4 or 5-1 in this hockey game because they're creating chances with their forecheck. That's exactly what Mike Gill wanted to see. But now you have to finish it on the other end of it.
Wild out shooting the Oilers 8-1 so far this period. 15,878.
No,
We're watching this one, hoping their team can find a way to beat Khabibulin here in the third and get 2 points out of it. Jones and Pellet going back. Jidlitsky rings it around. Latendresse got a piece of it, enough to get it by Andy Sutton. Sutton turns, sends it length wide off the boards in his own zone.
Subscriptions tab.
Flipped ahead to Payarvi. Schultz trying to stick it away from Payarvi. Bad hop out of the corner. Recovering nicely was Merrick Jidlitsky. Puck held in at the line. Goes off the shin pads of Latendresse. The Wild will take over.
NHL November 19/2011.
Bouchard's pass didn't connect with Cullen.
Action menu phone. 16 NHL November's action.
Their own goal up along the boards. It comes loose to Jones.
Theater Monkey Board Shirt
Jones working his way
All
towards
use next
center.
keyboard shirt shift plus
Leads
enter.
it ahead on the left wing side, and it's dumped deep into the Minnesota end.
Next keyboard shirt shift plus. YouTube video.
Tough game tonight.
Gilly's tied up by Cam Barkley. Puts it back behind. Spinning away with the puck was run. Back in front, but Gilly was still down low by the post. Here's Zanin. Stoner moving in. Stoner waits. Gets the defender to down. Runs one right through the crease up high. Brodziak would like to
Up 130 points.
Could not.
Waiting for Smith. Tipped.
Brodziak
Seconds. Storny.
in there on Land.
Take by Sharp.
Puck out
Finally
at center.
doesn't get at the point on the hall. Loses his head.
Away from
His second.
control by another youngster, 20-year-old Sean Landry.
Not this goal
Away from Hennigan. Peck. To get it deep.
Umber
Guys.
You can tell he got
looking, tried to hit Setaguchi.
Is 5 feet right through the
Scandella, right to Setaguchi. Through the
got
top of the
deflected.
crease.
Comes right across the goal mouth.
Sends it around behind. And as soon as he's picked up by
big
Devin
stat
Setaguchi in
record.
front with a
He
shot.
got yanked.
Rita pops up in the air, and Harvey Newland gloves
Two
it.
shots. Really.
It's tough. It's something Setaguchi with 3 shots in this game. He gave it 4. They still pound away, but cannot
Next key
find
moisture.
a way.
Slider at 1 hour 35 minutes. 1 hour.
It's time now for the CenturyLink high-speed play of the game.
Good forecheck there by the Wild. They keep the puck. And, well, they get a lot of support on the play. That leaves Matt Cullen the opportunity to do what he wants. Pass it, shoot it. He elects to shoot, gets his 3rd goal of the season. All of them even strength. Ryan only had 3 even strength goals out of his 12.
55 volume group.
Entire season last year, so he's already matched that.
Last year, you remember, he started just on fire on the power play.
And penalties.
Goals, assists, short-handed goals.
Short-handed goals. He was doing a lot. He had 12 goals. Like I said, 3 of them were even strength, so he got some in other ways. Good to see him already with 3 on the even strength side of things.
Harvey Newland turned that one over. Speed has to gather it up behind his own goal. Here comes Setaguchi. Now cleared up to Ryan Smith. Smith dumps it out to the middle of the ice, and at center ice, it's picked up and carried ahead by Nick Schultz. Schultz sends it to the corner. Schmid has it there. Off the skate of Ryan Smith. Bounces ahead to the Minnesota line. Schultz will chase it down. Got by Setaguchi, now intercepted. Here's Cullen moving in. Matt Cullen in 1-on-3, comes out with the puck. Jadlitsky to Cullen. Cullen in front. He had Setaguchi open in the slot, and that was broken up by Sean Horkoff. Bouchard to Guillaume Latendresse. Latendresse fires a shot that was blocked. Latendresse tries to get it back down low in the corner to Bouchard. Intercepted. Here comes the Oilers back.
He took that shot because he saw Bouchard going to the net after Bouchard had given him the puck. So some good ideas. He just couldn't get it through.
Guillaume sends it in again. Bouchard on the back wall. In comes Latendresse to help up. He's pushed up against the wall there by Cam Barker. You can see Bouchard battling with the puck in his skates. It's stripped free and carried ahead out of the zone. Petrell sends it in. Lander after it. Cullen sends it around. Bouncing puck. Bouchard settles it at center. Bouchard will dump it in. Wild will change here. All 5 will change right now for Minnesota. Just over 7 minutes to go in the 3rd period. Tied at 1.
8-4 Minnesota.
Here comes Powell. Takes the hit. He knew he'd be hit when he got there. Barker threw a hip into him. Petrie got it to Hall. Hall drop pass. Quick shot way wide of the goal by Petrell. Now Powell trying to work his way to center. Can't. Gets it back on a second chance. Slows it down to Spurgeon. Now Brodziak has it. He'll send it in deep. Spurgeon and Scandella, the D pair, head off. Schultz and Zidlichty are on now. Belanger to Nick Schultz, the former teammates. And Schultz sends it back deep into the Oilers zone. Puck made its way through some bodies at center. Schultz going back and gets the touch. And that's an icing call against the Oilers. Our Abra hit of the game.
Slow it down for you, but look at the shoulder into the chest. Taking out the body, taking out the stick. And Colt Gillies has been throwing Wild players better than all season, and it's certainly a good thing to see.
Belanger to Nick Schultz, the former teammates. And Schultz sends it back deep into the Oilers zone. Puck made its way through some bodies at center. Schultz going back. And Schultz sends it back deep into the through some bodies. Puck made its way through some bodies at center. Schultz going back and gets the touch.
One more going to go. It's 9-4.
It's Apr, hit of the game. Icing call against the Oilers. Apr, hit of the game.
Slow it down for you, but look at the shoulder into the chest, taking out the body, taking out the stick. Gillies has been throwing his weight around this season, and it's certainly a good thing to see. Here in Game 3, understands the system very well. I asked Mike Gill this morning, does Holt Gillies understand the system better than a lot of the veterans that you have right now? He said, yeah, absolutely. He played it all last year, so he actually, in many cases, does. We're hoping that the veteran Wild players catch up to him very quickly, though.
Sooner the better. He got it back and gets the puck back from Scandella. Long pass, looking on the right wing side for Senaguchi, and that deflects and Terrence got a play. We'll step away for just a moment. Getting late in this one, tied at 1. 9-4.
YouTube video.
Crunch time here in St. Paul, Minnesota, and Edmonton tied at 1. Stay with us after the game for a scintillating performance of Wild Live presented by CenturyLink. We'll take a look at Matt Collins' fast start both tonight and on the season. Wes Walls will take you onto the ice, and our instructor will deal with puck placement on the dump in to create that forecheck that Mike Yo loves. And speaking of Mike Yo, you're going to want to stick around here what the coach has to say about his team's performance tonight. That's all on Wild Live presented by CenturyLink. 1-1 boys down the stretch. Take us home.
Here we go. Well, they've been fairly dominant here in the third period, but dominant. Good. Here's Cullen. Cullen to Latendresse. Latendresse with a shot and another save for Javi Bulin. A glove save on that guy, Guillaume Latendresse.
Well, if it weren't for Javi Bulin, who has 29 saves in this game, this would be a very, very different game. And the Wild do a good job of getting it out of their own zone. Good stretch pass there, all the way up the ice. Beating the lanes and getting the shot on goal. That is just a very well set up rush by the Minnesota Wild, getting the puck up quickly, getting it north, as Mike Gill likes to say, getting into the centerman who drives the lane, gets it to the winger who gets a shot. I mean, very well established play, but Javi Bulin is not going to have any of it.
Special care to drink.
Puck, here's Belanger. He shot it off the outside of the goalpost. He got a turnover in the high slot. Pretty good shot. Javi Bulin.
It's tough. It's
Plays it to the corner. Brodziak turns it back in.
the day before the game.
Clutterbuck will leave it in the corner. Schultz will step up and get it. Schultz tied up by Belanger. Belanger, once again, a puck jumped in front of their own goal, that time by Schmid. This time it worked as they got it. Once again, a puck jumped in front of their own goal, that time by Schmid. Brought that out of their Guillaume Lottery.
Welcome to the game.
Wild have been fairly dominant here in the third period. Javi Bulin's been good. Here's Cullen. Cullen to Latendresse. Third period.
Take us home.
Here we go. Javi Bulin's been good. Here's Cullen. Cullen to Latendresse. Guillaume Latendresse. Shot and another save for Javi Bulin. Cullen to Latendresse. Latendresse with a shot and another. Javi Bulin's been good. Here's Cullen. Cullen to Latendresse. Here in the third period, but Javi Bulin's been good. Here's Cullen. Cullen to Latendresse. Latendresse with a shot and another save for Javi Bulin. A glove save.
Zero minutes, 7 seconds. 0.
Setaguchi. His second goal of the night. A double-digit goal for Minnesota. To complete their victory.
For Hobby Bullen, who has 29 saves in this game, this would be a very, very different game. And the Wild do a good job of getting it out of their own zone. Good stretch. Very different game. Bullen, who has 29 saves in this game, this would be a very, very different game. And the Wild do a good job of getting it out of their own zone. Good stretch pass there, all the way up the ice. Feeding the getting it in this game, this would be a very, very different game. And the Wild do a good job of getting it out of their own zone. Good stretch pass there, all the way up the ice. Feeding the lanes, getting the shot on goal. That is just a very well set up
1 hour, 20 minutes, 50 seconds.
Rush by the Minnesota Wild, getting the puck up quickly, getting it north, as Mike Gill likes to say. Getting it to the centerman who drives the lane, the winger who gets a shot. I mean, very well established play, but Hobby Bullen is not going to have any of it.
Here's puck, here's Belanger. He shot it off the outside of the goalpost. He got a turnover in the high slot. Pretty good shot on Backstrom. Hobby Bullen plays it to his corner. Grazian turns it back in. Colton Rose to Clutterbuck. Clutterbuck will leave it in the corner. Schultz will step up again. Schultz tied up by Belanger. Belanger, and once again the puck dumped in front of their own goal. That time by Speed. This time it works. The guy helped around and Smith. And he dumps it into the Minnesota zone. Off the boards, ahead to Setaguchi. Sidesteps Cam Barker, comes it in. Taylor Hall turning away from Koivu. Ran into Setaguchi. Now Koivu got by Hall. Koivu goes to the right side. Spurgeon moving in with a shot. Deflected wide of the goal.
Deflected. 4 minutes left to go in game 3.
Chasing. Lost it. Picked up. Nugent Hopkins left side. This turned back entirely. Koivu picked up that bouncing puck. Chipped away from him. All at Scandella after him. Marco pulls that one away. Scandella with a nice move and an outlet pass. Third ahead now to Heatley. Has it stripped away. Gets it back. Heatley in the high slot. Can't gain control.
Got Gilbert reaching on that one.
There's a turnover. A quick shot on goal by Latendresse. It's not there. I don't think Guillaume got all of that one.
It's the element of Hobby Bullen shot.
Wild out spawn. There's Bouchard. They were pinching from the point, so he's happy just to clear it out. Horkoff has it. Waiting for it.
I'm sure he was at work.
Zalitsky just clears the zone. Steele. Grazian. Gloved it. Knocked it down. Trying to gain control. Howe. Knocks it back behind. Cut off there by Peckham. Peckham can't get it out. Powell takes it. Powell will send it around behind. Here's Brodziak in the near corner. He's tied up there by Schmid. Picked up by Powell. Quick shot by Brodziak in the rebound. Swept away by Hobby Bullen. Schultz will dump it right back deep in the zone. Wild will change here. Here comes Cal Clutterbuck, the lone forechecker. Wild finished the change behind Clutterbuck. Gilbert to center. Dumps it in. Heatley trying to knock it back out. Right point, Sutton. Sutton waits, he shoots well wide of the goal. A hard, low shot, but he missed the mark. Gilbert trying to keep it in, he could not. Heatley trying to gain control, he could not get control.
Just didn't have any speed, he was flat-footed when he got that puck. It was stuck by Sutton.
Under 2 minutes now remaining here in the third period. Mike Spurgeon will chase it down at the other end. Wild will practice here tomorrow and then host the Detroit Red Wings on Saturday night.
2 games to 1.
Ahead to Cullen. Got by Matt Cullen stick. To the near wall. Played back by Hall. Schmid has it. Cullen chasing. Schmid rotates it around. Peckham up through the left wing side. Looking to center. Gets his way to the line. Dumps it in.
Minnesota Husky board short. Slider at 1 hour 26 minutes 5 seconds of 1 hour 42 minutes 35 seconds. 1 hour 26 minutes 8 seconds of 1 hour 42 minutes 35 seconds.
Got by Taylor Hall. Hall is hit and knocked down by Stoner along the boards. Nugent Hopkins. Hand pass.
Oh, have the
1 hour 26 minutes.
Powell puts it on goal.
1 hour
This
27
time
minutes.
Bobby Woolen dropped it. He hasn't done that much tonight. Long pass redirected into the corner. Gilbert and Powell go in. Comes Brodziak. Brodziak looking, dumps it into the slot. Clutterbuck was there and handcuffed him back to the point. Schultz will just tuck it back in behind. Brodziak taken off the puck by Gilbert. There is a chance for Clutterbuck. Tried to get it over to Darryl Powell. Zidlitzky out at center. 20 seconds remaining in the third period. Brodziak hit by
Minnesota Wild 2011-2012.
The Minnesota Wild. 2 games to 1. 10-4 the final.
When I was 31 minutes 48.
Horkoff started right, went to the middle. Wanted to go to a quick forehand shot. Waited, thought maybe he could get it around, but Backstrom got that right leg out and cut off any chance for Sean Horkoff. And more importantly, maybe you have a goaltender now with a little more confidence in the shootout, Anthony. So, like I said, it was not easy against this young Oiler team, but they worked their way through it, got the 2 points.
A great night for Nicholas Backstrom, who was scored upon all 3 times by Ottawa on the shootout. Got 3 of 4 tonight to make a winner out of the Wild. We'll take another look at Matt Cullen. We'll start next on Wild Hockey.